It's like, just calm down, folks. Just calm down. All right, and welcome in to the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. It is Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Carson is back from a trip I'm excited to hear about
That's
from
cool.
Seattle earlier this week. He went there for the Penguins Kraken's game and did some tight sightseeing around Seattle. We're going to get into that as well as what's going on with both of our teams, the Pittsburgh Penguins for Carson and the Edmonton Oilers for me, and some news around the NHL, including um, uh, change in the Team USA lineup for the Olympics coming up. But first, again, thank you very much for everybody who is joining us. We're live on Facebook. We're also live on our YouTube channel, Best Boys Center Ice Podcast. You can catch us either way there. The replay of both will be available shortly after the live video is done. So we do encourage you to check us out on Facebook, make comments, Facebook or YouTube, and we'd definitely love to hear your thoughts about maybe your favorite team, where your team sits right now as we're 50 plus games into the regular season as we get close to the Olympic break. Do you think your team is going to make the playoffs? Do you think your team is going to do something trade deadline? We'd love to hear from you. You can do that right now. So without any further ado, I want to get to you, Carson.
Yeah.
And let's start out with, how was the trip to Seattle? I saw pictures online. You can check out the posts on Carson's Facebook page. It looked like a typical Seattle type weather, but it looked like you all had a good time.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's obviously different than down here. It's every city you go to, it's different. You can tell the difference from city to city. And Seattle was very hilly. There were a lot of hills to walk up, that's for sure. But very different infrastructure and pretty cool to see the area around, obviously, and enjoy the weather. It was 40 some odd the whole time, so nice. It was pretty, cloudy, but still really comfortable weather. The arena was awesome. Climate Pledge is such a nice arena. So the Climate Pledge, because we went on a tour of the arena. I'm not sure if I heard this correctly, but I'm pretty sure I did. That Climate Pledge Arena has the most LED screens in an arena in the world.
LED screens?
Yes.
Really? Wow.
So the Climate Pledge Arena, if you don't know, an arena that's owned, I believe, by Amazon, but their goal is to reduce the carbon footprint or eliminate carbon footprint by 2040 or something like that. And so the arena is like all eco-friendly from top to bottom. It's pretty cool. Inside of the arena, they have an entire greenery wall that just has plants on it in the arena. Pretty
Really?
different. Pretty
That
different.
is different than all the
I'll
regular.
send you a picture of it. I took a picture of it, but yeah, I mean, just it was an unbelievable venue to watch a hockey game in. Even during warm-ups, they have, because the way the arena is built, the most of it's underground. Because when you're walking in the ground level, the arena is not tall. It's very short on the ground. Well, the way the arena is set up is that on each side there are windows that seek to the outside that have natural light coming in. So during the warm-ups, they have those open. So there's tons of light coming in from outside, and then when the game's on, the curtains go over top of them, and it's very unique. Pretty cool details that they had. Like, for example, whenever like the Kraken scored a goal and they announced the goal, whoever scored the goal, their autograph would show up on those windows on the little curtains. They would have it engraved on there. But yeah, really cool arena. I mean, the fans were awesome. It's weird though, sitting in that rink, it looked very small. Like sitting down, it just looks very tiny. But it was a nice arena. Obviously, the game was good. The Penguins won it. But the fans were great. Then we went for a little bit. Went to the next night. They had a PWHL game that we went to, which is when we went there for our tour. And very interestingly enough, the fan engagement is more present for them versus the Kraken games. So I think it's because the PWHL games are a bit easier to follow because they're not as quick paced as the NHL games, so it's easier for them to understand what's going on. But regardless, the fans are very good. Obviously, in a good mood because we got there the day after the Seahawks beat the Niners to advance to the
Yeah.
NFC Championships. Everybody was in a good mood from that. But yeah, it was good. Good food, good time, good weather. Perfect little vacation. Come back and you don't really feel out of sorts. But cherry on top is the Penguins winning the game. Obviously, they had an offensive outburst, which was nice. I normally don't see them score that much when I go, so it was
Yeah.
cool to get them to light the lamp a few times.
Yeah. That's nice, guys. Yeah. You haven't had the best of luck seeing
No,
goals.
well, no, and I mean, like they usually don't score that much, and for the most part, they don't win. But
Mm.
they came out guns a blazing. They scored two quick ones in the first period, and it was pretty much anytime the Kraken came back, the Penguins responded. Your old boy Kulak got a big one in there in the game, but it was fun, and the Stew chants travel pretty well. I'll tell
Yeah.
you,
Really?
they do. I was participating. I'll let you know.
Okay. Good.
But no, it was fun, and I mean, just really, really fun environment, really fun arena. I think that's my favorite arena I've been to. I
Yeah.
think.
And speaking of your trip, Jamie is
Oh,
watching
cool.
us right now on Facebook.
Yeah.
Hi,
No,
Jamie.
we had a good time, and she was a good sport, repping the colors.
Yeah.
She seemed to embrace it a little bit. I don't know. I mean, she was
Yeah.
cheering and stuff, but
Maybe we can take her over from the dark side of
mm,
Washington to
yeah.
the light
I
side of
won't I won't push it
Pittsburgh.
too much, but I'll give her credit. She was wearing a Capitals jacket underneath, but no, it was fun. We had a good time, and you know, obviously that's my thing is going to hockey games. So that makes any vacation good for me is going to a hockey game.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Well, great. I'm glad you had a great time.
And I got your puck.
Oh, thank you. You got. I can say I got a little puck
Yep.
collection going
Uh,
on. I think I got a couple here that from this would have been 2020 last season.
yep. When I went to Pittsburgh. Yep.
Yeah, when he went to Pittsburgh for the Ottawa and Washington. So that'll add to my puck collection.
Yeah.
Um,
It was cool.
I do have a puck from the inaugural
Let
season of
me
Utah.
let
So
me grab yours real quick so I can show you.
okay, so yeah, I got lots of pucks. I got lots of pucks from when Carson and I would go to Dallas. I do have a puck from the Vegas game I went to last year. That arena is beautiful. T-Mobile Arena is
There it
beautiful
is.
in Vegas, and oh yeah, that's nice. I like that. That's a very nice. The Seattle and Pittsburgh. Yeah, I like that. That's very
Yep.
cool. So that'll go
Nice.
into the collection. So,
Yeah.
right, since we're talking about the Penguins, since we're talking about you, let's continue on with the week
Oh,
that was for the Penguins.
beautiful. 3-0-1 since we last came on. They were in action last Thursday against the Flyers when we were going on, and they beat them in that game. I think it was 6-3 final. Really good game. I mean, offensive downpour. They were 3 for 4 in the power play. Stu played pretty well. Uh, kind of a little bit of a feisty game, but the Flyers just didn't have anything goaltending wise to keep the puck out of the net. Then they had to play against the Jackets on Saturday at home, which that's the fourth out of four matchups against them. But every game they played has gone to overtime. Every game, so pretty neat. But the Jackets prevailed. But the late game heroics of the Penguins this year have been huge. They've had probably three to five times this season already where they've scored a 6-on-5 goal to tie the game, which is huge because you gain an extra 3 to 5 points in the standings. Regardless, they go to overtime and it's back and forth, back and forth. It was heart pumping and crazy energy, but nobody scored, and the Jackets ended up winning in the shootout. Uh, and then you start up this week. Monday they played in Seattle. Of course, I already talked about that. Penguins won that one 6-3. Really good game overall. Stu played well. The guys in front of him played well. PK got a shorthanded goal. I think the first shorthanded goal of the season. But they took care of business in Seattle, and then finally. They got the revenge against the Flames, who beat them a couple weeks ago at home. They come back to Calgary and beat them 4-1 last night. Really good game. I mean, Malkin had a goal. Chinikov had another one. He's been a really good fit, a guy that I want to talk about more later because he's been a diamond in the rough. He has such a good shot and he just shoots whenever. And honestly, that's the kind of energy they need is somebody who's just going to fire the puck. But he got his third goal already with the team. And then Tommy Novak had a nice goal in there. Calgary came back at the end of the second and scored one of those crappy late goals, with like 2 seconds left in the period. So it made me kind of worried something was going to happen off of that. But the Penguins came back and scored a goal in the first shift of the third. And pretty much held Calgary down. Looked like they didn't have to waste too much energy either, which was kind of nice, coming back for tonight's game. that they really didn't have to. They were just chipping pucks, dumping pucks in, and they were swarming. The broadcast team was talking about it. Uh, the Penguins were just swarming the neutral zone, so the Calgary couldn't gain any entries. They would get the puck in, and the Penguins would clear it, and that was it. And so that made it a lot easier for them. But yeah, another great game for Stu. I think I saw in his last 6 games, I think his last 6 games, he's 5-1-0, and his goals against is like 1.5. So he's
He's like
played really well.
nine
Yeah,
something save
yeah.
percentage.
Well, and nonetheless, they're down EK 65 already, and Letang was out after the Seattle game. So that was a big loss to not have Letang in there already. But the
Mhm.
Penguins defensively played really well. I mean, they didn't really give him anything. And now they had a amazing week. They're second place in the division right now. They are on a high, and their schedule, for the most part, until the Olympic break, is pretty favorable, where they can win a lot of these games. So they have a lot of time off between games starting here pretty shortly, which is fine by me because honestly, with all the injuries, they need it to get back healthy. We'll now get into this probably in a little bit. We have the big matchup in about an hour and a half against you guys, against Edmonton. And then we close out the Western Canada trip on Sunday, which is in Vancouver, but that game's kind of nice because it's at like 4 o'clock. So it's not going to be one of those 9 or 10 o'clock starts. And then we head back home not until Thursday, and I believe we play against the Blackhawks. So not that many games for the next week, but honestly, they need it just to get back and healthy and uh, take advantage of the rest that they can get because once the Olympics are done, that's over with. Everybody's going to be playing every other night. Uh, this compressed schedule has been brutal. A lot of teams are just playing over and over and over again, but it's had to be done for the Olympic break. But I'm happy with where they're at. Again, they're well above 500. They are in a good spot. They have games in hand on pretty much every team in the division. So any points that they get just make more of a cushion. And their divisional play has been phenomenal. I think this year divisional play so far, I believe they're like 8-1-4 already. So they barely lost in regular. They've only lost once in regulation all season, and that's been the difference from last few seasons to now. Why they're in a playoff spot is because they're playing well in these divisional games and getting points or winning them.
Yeah.
And so I'm impressed. I mean the big guys are playing well, but they don't have to carry the load. Everybody's contributing to this. The fourth line has been amazing, like I've said. Guys like Chinikov, Novak, Brazo have been helping with it. And the reason why the Penguins are doing what they are is because the offense is spread throughout the lineup. The big guys don't have to play. Sid doesn't have to play 25 minutes. He can play 18 minutes, and it's effective because the other guys are really doing what they're supposed to do and creating havoc and scoring a lot of the goals. I mean, a lot of the goals are being scored by not the top line, which I'm fine with that because that's going to carry this team into where they want to
Mhm.
be, which is a playoff spot. Obviously, I've already addressed big news for tonight's game. EK65 is back a bit earlier than he was supposed to be, but he's been practicing for the last few days. He was in a no or full contact jersey already for 2 practices. He feels good to go, so he's back in the perfect time for this game. Letang, not sure if he'll be back tonight. He was day to day. He didn't play last night. I hope he plays today, but if not, you got Carlson back for sure, which is a big boost to the power play because they've surely missed him.
Yeah.
And that that's a player that you can't that there's not many of in the league that can play like him.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see him back. But yeah, really happy with what the Penguins are doing. If they can get 4 out of the 6 points for this next week stretch, I'd be very happy with that. They need the rest, get back in recovery, but keep trying to build their cushion in the division because they are setting themselves up for a really, really bright position in the playoffs, I think.
Want to reach out. Deborah's also watching us live on Facebook right now. Okay, we'll get to the matchup tonight between the Oilers and the Penguins
Yeah.
after.
Oh, and I have to say, Stu's just been it's been a good change, I think.
Yeah.
I think you can tell with how he's playing that he just feels really confident right now in Pittsburgh with the guys that are in that room. He seems happy. Like anytime you look at him, he's smiling and having a good time. And uh, I don't know. It's very refreshing to see that because, I'm happy with Jari too with what he's been doing in Edmonton. But the last little bit of it just didn't really feel like he cared. He was just kind of
Right.
there. But Stu seems like he's invested and he cares. I'm hoping that the coaching staff kind of stops with this 50-50 goalie rotation thing, though, because I think Stu is a starter
Hmm.
right now. And I think they got to make sure he's treated like that so he stays, because I definitely want him back
Yeah.
for a couple years.
Yeah, and I agree. Stu has got the Oilers to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row, but he needed a
Yeah.
change. He was
Yeah.
just too much pressure
Well,
playing in his
and
hometown too.
even in the broadcast last night, the Calgary guys were talking about Stu, and they mentioned to the point that last season or last few seasons, whenever the Oilers lost, it was always Stu's fault, no matter what. And they were saying, that's not fair to him necessarily, because a lot of those games they wouldn't be in if it weren't for him,
Yeah,
which is true. But he did take a lot of the weight because he was a goalie,
yeah,
and that's the reason that you ultimately win or lose. And nonetheless, it's been a good change of scenery for both guys. But I'm very happy with how Stu has done. I think his play turned around once
mm,
everything got settled. His family got into town. They got settled with the house. All that stuff eliminates a lot of confusion and uncertainty. And so he's just been able to play free, and the guys in front of him are supporting him and love
yeah.
having him there.
I'm happy with how the Jari situation is.
It
He
was
got
fair for
hurt. He
both.
was
It
hurt
was
for a
fair for
little
both
bit.
teams. Very fair for both
Yeah.
teams.
He was if he got hurt for a few games.
Yeah.
Connor Ingram, I'll mention this in a little bit. He's really come on strong. But yeah, I think the switch over between the
Well, and even
goaltenders
for
really.
Kulak, Kulak,
Yeah.
I was unsure about Kulak at first because he had some rough games at first. The only problem I kind of have with him right now is he takes a lot of penalties, I feel like, in
Mhm.
comparison, but he's a good shutdown defenseman that just kind of is always
Yeah.
consistent. He's in the spots where he needs to be. And he doesn't really get outworked to the puck, which is nice. But I think it's just worked out for both teams. Both guys needed a refresh. Both teams that are very much in it, and they don't. Both teams have gotten better. Whether
Yeah.
you look at it one way or the other, they both gotten better since that happened. So it was a benefit.
All right. So again, we'll talk about the matchup tonight here in
Oh
a little
boy,
bit. That's going to be a good one.
yeah,
I'll turn over to the Oilers the week that was. They're 25, 18, and 8, second in the Pacific. Since the last show, the Oilers are 2-2.
yeah.
So they had, and Leon Draisaitl has been out for all four of those games, if I'm not mistaken, because of a family illness back in Germany. So they lost to the Islanders 1-0 last Thursday.
That was
Then
those frustrating games. I hate those.
that's 1-0 game. Is just
And they're
very
always the
frustrating.
games that you have like 20,000 chances to score,
Yeah,
and you just don't
and
do it.
they had lots of shots on net, but just nothing. You get up against a hot goaltender like they did here against Jersey the other night. Then after the Thursday game, the Oilers went back-to-back shutouts. 6-0 Saturday. That was Jari shutout against Vancouver, and then the 5-0 shutout over the Blues on Sunday was Connor Ingram. And then, like I mentioned, they lost to New Jersey 2-1. Jake Allen was just incredible. He's the reason why that Jersey won that
Oh
game
yeah.
last night. Oilers goaltender situation seems to be a bit more clear. Jari's back, and it looks like Connor Ingram is playing great right now. So I think Calvin Pickard may be the
Yeah.
odd man
Did
out.
you
Now,
see his comments about that?
you know what?
That
Which
he's
one?
not very happy.
Yeah. Well,
Pickard, he's not
okay.
happy.
Sure, he's not happy, but then you got to prove it on the ice by becoming the guy.
Mhm.
They're still going to carry three goaltenders for now, at least until the break. But yeah, okay. If Pickard he's not back to the way he was a couple of years ago. Last year,
I mean, I
he
can't blame him for being upset, but Connor Ingram has been lights out.
and what do you do if you got a goaltender who's hot? Even if he
Yeah.
comes up from the minors,
Yeah.
you got to go with him.
And you've got to be selfish. I get it, but you're still a part of the team, and your team is doing well.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it, though. He wants to play, and he's kind of in a position where he's not going to play. The Oilers might look at maybe trying to shop him around and see if they can just get something, because there's probably a team that's going to need him
Mhm.
that'll sell high for him.
Yeah, I think so. But I think the way Connor Ingram has been playing,
He
I think
deserves to
he
play.
pretty much secured himself as the backup. Depth scoring has been a little bit better for the Oilers, but the line play from the bottom six has been a big part of how the Oilers have succeeded the last couple of months, especially with Roslovic, Janmark, and Mangiapane. And I know they're trying to
Trade him.
deal Mangiapane, but you could look at the score sheet and you could look at the way the lines play. And the score sheet the bottom six guys are getting on the score sheet a little bit more, not leaving it all to Draisaitl and
McDavid.
McDavid and the
Well,
regular.
we've seen what happens when they do that. I mean, they only can get so far.
But it's the line play. It's that what that third and fourth line do out there to cause some havoc, and they that Janmark has gotten even better at forechecking of the puck. He's a great penalty killer. That third and fourth line, especially the young kids that are on that line, Howard and Savoy, um, they just make things interesting. They may not score a bunch. They get it sometimes in waves, but I like the way that the bottom six lines are playing and doing their part to the Oilers'
Yep.
success. And like I said, Leon Draisaitl expected to be back from his leave on Saturday. He's in Germany, of course, attending to a family emergency. Kasperi Kapanen was back on the ice this week after an injury he suffered. I think it was against St. Louis on Sunday. He just kind of tumbled awkwardly onto the ice. There's no timeline yet for his return.
Coach Shouldn't be too long.
Kind of said maybe a little bit, but it's not going to be as long as his other injury. So you definitely need him on the ice, because with him on the ice, that second line of Draisaitl and Podkolzin and Kapanen are just automatic. They're just very exciting to watch. So we'll see what happens there. Now, coming up for the Oilers tonight, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins on Saturday at home against Washington. Monday, they'll take on Anaheim. And then a week from tonight is San Jose as the 8-game home stand continues. Now, let's talk about the game tonight. It's the Oilers and the Penguins. Now, the Oilers have had the Penguins' numbers the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is different between the Penguins team of this year and the Penguins team that, you know, have lost to the Oilers the last, I don't know how,
8 out of 9 times. 8 out of 9 times. Right now they're playing their best of the season. Everybody's contributing. You can tell the fourth line is a driving force of the team. That's going to be the key of the game, is if the Penguins' fourth line can do what they do best. I don't want to sound like cocky or anything, but the Oilers are in trouble if they can't control that, because that fourth line has been really good at just hemming the other team in, forechecking like crazy. It leads to a lot of chances for the top guys, because then they're just doing those flyby changes where like Lazat's in the corner, got the puck, and they're able to get the top line out there one by one, and it creates another like 30, 40 seconds where they're in the zone. A big key will be EK65 is back for the power play, however many they get. He's dynamic on the power play. He's shifty. On the other hand of it, the Penguins' first line's got to be better defensively, because they've not been very good defensively the last little bit, and that could lead to some problems. But I think as a team, the Penguins have been, since the holiday break, have been the best defensive team in the league. As far as how many goals they've allowed per game, they're doing really well as a team. The big thing right now with Shelov, since he'll probably be starting, Shelov's has been starting off slow, and then as the game comes on and you need a big save, he's making them. So if he can mitigate that a little bit, that'll be a bit better for the Penguins. But they can't let McDavid do whatever he wants to him. They got to just be ready and for a war. I mean, it's going to be a hard game. They're on a back-to-back, but again, like I said, they didn't look like they had to expend too much energy in Calgary yesterday. Yeah. I think this is mapping out to be a very good game overall, regardless of the outcome. I think it's going to be very much a tight contest. I hope for a lot of goals, honestly, because I think that's what makes this matchup so unique, is that the superstars in each team that can contribute. But yeah, I think the key is the power play and the fourth line for us, especially. But it's going to be I think it's going to be a really good game. I really do think that, honestly, watching these two teams lately, it's going to be a fierce battle.
I look at the Oilers defense. They got to keep going the way they've been going. They've been only, they don't allow a whole lot of time in the defensive zone. Yeah. And, it's usually a one and out. They got to play a lot. They got to continue to play better. They're blocking shots. I like that. They're getting their sticks where they need to be. They're getting people out in front of the net. So the defense to me is key. And the key, again, is those bottom six guys. The bottom two lines, the third and fourth line, have got to keep pressing, and giving the opportunity to the two big lines to go out there and do some damage. I don't know if it's the Oilers home game, so they'll have the choice of line matchups and everything. But I think when it comes down to it, goaltending is the biggest part of it. Is Seeloff's going to have a game, like he had when he was with Vancouver against Edmonton, where he played solid? And again, Tristan Jarry, he's still coming back from an injury. Came back from, he played really good in
He played
New
in good
Jersey.
against Jersey. He did.
But I look at the defense and the bottom six guys, because you got McDavid, you've got Hyman, you got Podkolzin, you've got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So you've got, your big guys up front.
Yeah.
The power play's rolling.
Yeah.
Number one in the NHL. Penalty kill is right up there too.
Well, look at that. Both of our teams. So both of our teams have a top 5 special teams overall, I think.
Yeah. It's like for the Penguins, it's all like everybody else. You got to stay out of the penalty box, because that Oiler power play, even with Draisaitl not on the ice, still can do some damage.
No, but
and for the Oilers, staying out of the penalty box is key too, because they take some bad penalties at the bad time of the game, and they got to be a little bit more disciplined.
You're playing. Both teams are playing a team that's playing hot. Yeah. Both of them. Both teams have been playing really well.
Way, like Carson said, it's going to be a great game. It's coming up here at 8:00 Central Time. It's going to be a great game. We always love. It's the two nights out of the year where him and I do not agree on the game, but
I think we can agree that it's going to be. I think it's really going to be a good game. I mean, obviously, advantage going into it's probably for Edmonton because they're the home team and they are rested more comparison. But the Penguins kind of get a lucky break with no Draisaitl in the lineup. But I mean, it doesn't make a difference. They're still a good team. And there's changes for both. I mean, the Oilers, I don't want to say have the misfortune, but they have Carlson back in the game. That's a bit different of a defensive core versus without him. That changes the dynamic 100% of the time.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the game tonight between the Edmonton Oilers.
And it's a perfect start time, I think. 8:00.
Yeah, 8:00. Yeah, love the 8:00 start time. All right, quickly, rest of the NHL. Rasmus Anderson will make his Vegas debut this weekend after the trade with Calgary on the 18th. We knew the trade was coming. He was not happy in Calgary. He wanted to get out of Calgary.
That was a good trade for both sides because the Flames got White Cloud, who has played really good for them so far, and he's been one of their top minute guys. So it worked out for both teams. White Cloud got a Stanley Cup already, and now he gets to be a leader in Calgary and possibly boost his value as a player, how much he can maybe be getting in his next deal or where he wants to kind of be. Anderson gets to go and play with a team that's going to be a contender for the Cup where he hasn't won yet. It was bound to happen. It wasn't one of those ugly deals either. It was like mutual. I mean, they knew it was going to have to happen, and they got him to the right situation for both guys. But yeah, going to be neat to see how he plays. I like his game personally. He plays pretty hard. I'm excited to see how he fits there in Vegas and what kind of role he plays. Because I know he was like number 1 D-man in Calgary. Now where he's going to fit in this Vegas lineup is going to be neat.
It's always strange though when you trade within your division, but it worked for both teams. Next up, Seth Jones will not be playing for Team USA at the Olympics next month due to an upper body injury. He'll be replaced by Ducks defenseman Jackson Lacombe. So I know there were a lot of talk about how he was key to that USA Olympic team defense. So it's got to be a hard thing for him to be not being.
But for Lacombe, it's a big opportunity. Lacombe's a young guy; he's in his early 20s. He gets the chance to play on, and he deserves it. But I mean, it sucks for Seth Jones. I mean, this is probably his last time he's going to get the chance to play in one. But he's on a contending team, and I think he would want to be there to win a Stanley Cup again.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of Olympic news. The Ottawa Senators will be without David Perron for 5 to 7 weeks with a sports hernia that requires surgery. Now, he'd been complaining about it for quite a while. The medical team decided, well, let's just get the surgery done. So he's going to be out of the Ottawa lineup.
And poor Ottawa's in a rough spot. I mean, they really are. They're kind of stuck in that zone where they're somewhat in it, but they're not. And it's like, they're just not gaining any ground, to be honest with you. They win a game or two, and then they're still just like kind of floating around.
It's kind of like the Ottawa of old. It's just kind of like, okay, the Senators are there again. Okay. Brad Marchand still out. He's going to miss his 7th game in a row tonight. He's got an undisclosed injury. I think he's second in Florida scoring. I think
I
on all
think I think this is I don't want to say unfortunately, but the year that Florida probably I feel like won't make it in. I think there's too many injuries that they've had. They just
yeah,
cannot they haven't been healthy. And it's no shame on them if they don't make it because they've rolled the East for the last 3 years, but they've just been battling so many injuries, and
yeah,
it's hard for them to gain any traction, and they're trying to, but they can't. I mean,
yeah,
you're all the guys that they're losing are top guys on their team. They already got Barkov out. They had Kachuk out for so long. Marchand's out for a little bit. The only big guy they really haven't lost yet is Bobrovsky, but everybody else they've lost. And it's there. You're 50 games into the season. It's hard to make up any ground as time goes on. And if there's any team that can, it's Florida for sure. But I mean, no shame to them if they don't make it because
yeah.
they've really been battling it this year.
That's like 3 years in a row to the Stanley Cup final. That's got to wear on you too a little bit.
Hmm.
Stadium Series is coming up February 1st in Tampa. The Lightning will host the Boston Bruins, and they're working on the structure within the structure. I saw that they're they're going to play in the stadium in Tampa. I think it's
Raymond James Stadium.
Raymond James, but they actually have a structure that's going to be made on the football field for the ice rink. So they're
Yeah,
working on that right now.
yeah,
Again, the Stadium Series and the Winter Classic, the Heritage Classic, all that stuff is just great because
yeah.
outdoor hockey.
Is
A
the
lot of
best.
people have never seen it before, especially
No,
in the southern part of the United States.
no. Well, and
I,
people are complaining about that Florida's getting those games, but that's how you expand the game. I
yeah,
mean, that's how you expand the game is you get people that get to go to that normally wouldn't get to. I
and
mean, I know it's made to be like in a cold place with a blizzard coming down during the game, but that's how you make people fans, and
yeah,
that's how you're getting people into it.
yeah, and it's different because the crowd is so far away.
Yeah,
But I just like the look of when you went. Okay, yeah, when you see a game a couple of years ago, it was Edmonton Calgary in the Heritage Classic, the
yeah,
20th anniversary game. That was cold in Edmonton, and you'd like to see that. It's just I remember the first Heritage Classic, Edmonton against I think it was Edmonton Montreal, and it was in the Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Your uncle Keith went to it, and it was just great, a phenomenon. And I like the Stadium Series. I don't mind it being in a warmer state like Florida or
well, and
California,
those are teams that
Texas.
deserve to be in it because they're good teams.
Yeah, and that's coming up February the 1st, and we'll keep an eye on that as well. But that's all I've
I
got.
got a question for you.
Okay.
How about those New York Rangers? Still just
The New York Rangers. This is a storied franchise. This is a franchise that, of the original six, probably, I think they've won the least amount of Stanley Cups, if I'm not mistaken, of
yes,
the original six.
yes,
But a storied franchise. A lot of great players have gone through there. You got in the 70s, the 80s, you had a great Ranger team. Mark Messier went from the Oilers and led
the
New
Rangers
York
to
to
the
their last
'94.
Stanley Cup. They've had some really good teams. They play in Madison Square Garden. The crowd in New York is just incredible, and they are stinking it up on the ice this year, big time. And in New York, of all places, if you stink it up, they're going to let you know about it. Hey, don't tell me that even though the New York Yankees have won 26 World Series or whatever they're at now, that if they stink it up on the field, the people in Yankee Stadium are going to give them a hard time. That's the same thing. It's just what have you done for me lately in New York is what it
Yeah,
is. And the
nothing. I mean, they
Rangers
haven't done
have not done
anything.
anything
Okay,
lately.
they made the Eastern Conference Final a couple years ago, but they haven't won the
But
cup, and
but
that's what they
then they
need.
put free fall, and now they have to
They're
dismantle pretty
last in
much
the
the whole
division.
team.
They have to blow it up. They're last in the division. They're going to have to blow it up and figure out what they're going to do. Another thing I didn't mention that last week I should have. There were two jersey retirements last week. They had Fedorov in Detroit and Chara
Mhm.
in Boston got their jerseys
Yeah,
retired. So pretty cool. Two guys in their respective positions that are some of the best ever. And obviously Fedorov's story is unique with the defection, all that happening back when he started. And you know, But pretty cool that those guys got their turns at being in the rafters for their teams forever, and obviously just pretty cool. I mean, that they're still involved. You see Chara's always involved in Boston stuff. I think right after that, the next day he was at the divisional game for the Patriots the next day.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. He's still
I think
involved in it.
Z runs marathons now
Yes,
too.
he does. He
Yeah.
does.
So yeah, and Fedorov, that story, I remember that story, him coming over from, at the time, the Soviet Union. It wasn't like it is now. He came over from a defected
Big risk.
Big risk. He was the first Russian player to play and to come over and to the United States, North America, to play hockey. And tell you what, one of the best. He was something else to watch. And then you just saw the influx of Russian players.
Russian talent has been amazing.
And then that Detroit team that had
the Russian five
of them, and they were just one of the best teams.
That's a good team. That's just an all-time.
Fedorov will go down as one of the best players in the NHL, but I don't think he gets as high a rating as he should get.
Nope.
And Z, Zdeno Chara, he kind of redefined what a defenseman does. He's huge. What is he, 6'9" without skates or something like that? He led Boston to their Stanley Cups, and he's very well deserving. Both players very well deserving of being up in the rafters in Detroit and in Boston. So that's about it. We've going to run out of time here on the show. Again, if you would like to see the replay will be available on both Facebook and also our YouTube channel. We'd love for you to go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. And thank you to Jamie and Deborah for tuning in tonight on Facebook. We'll, again, be available for replay in just a little bit. I want to thank everybody for supporting us. We're going to be back next Thursday with another edition of the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. And in the meantime, and in between time, everybody have a great hockey night.